Venice was once described as the most beautiful city on earth built by man. Its musical tradition could be described in similar terms, and this year we celebrate the 400th anniversary of a composer who, in the century of its greatest glory, was its most important musician, Giovanni Gabrieli. Gabrieli was the organist of St. Mark's Basilica in Venice. Anyone who's visited this iconic church and looked up will know that the circle is an essential ingredient in its design. The church, in true Byzantine fashion, is built on the plan of a Greek cross and roofed with 4 great circular domes, each enclosing one of the principal spaces beneath. And here we're standing in another great circle with a dome above, the rotunda of Dublin's City Hall. There are great resonances between the two buildings. The architectural ones that we see here. This building is perhaps the one that is most similar to the Venetian Basilica that we'd have here in Dublin. But there are other resonances too. City Hall, once the Royal Exchange, stands just next to Dublin Castle, and so was at the very centre of the theatre of civic life for some centuries. St. Mark's too was such a theatre, the venue for stunning civic display, where church and state would come together, music and architecture, and a wonderful fusion that has been unequaled before or since. There's a literal resonance too. Here in City Hall, there's a sumptuous echo, not unlike that in St. Mark's, and what I like to think of as a Byzantine acoustic, where the sound has an increased and prolonged presence, rather than the even decay of a Gothic space. And so it is to this wonderful space that we come for Resurgam's Gabrieli celebration, a series of 3 early evening Saturday concerts from the 4th to the 18th of February. We're exploring the Venetian cori sprezzati tradition of musically and spatially distinct choirs of instruments and voices, a tradition that Gabrieli brought to new heights of perfection and which suited very well the internal arrangements of St. Mark's Basilica in Venice. We're going to be tracing the development of Gabrieli's music, starting first with his predecessors and teachers. Organist Malcolm Proud is going to play solo keyboard works by both Giovanni Gabrieli and his uncle Andrea. For the second concert, we move to the 1597 publication Symphonie Sacrée, and also the music of Gabrieli's pupils. For the third concert, we explore music from the posthumous 1615 publication, and here we stand at the threshold between Renaissance and Baroque. For the second and the third concerts, we're joined by string players from the Irish Baroque Orchestra and the period wind ensemble QuintEssential. For anyone who hasn't experienced the agility of the 17th century violin with its very short bow, or the wonderful burnished quality of the period cornets and sackbuts, they're in for a sonic revelation. These instruments all balance perfectly with each other and with the solo vocal lines, bringing alive what is in essence high-octane chamber music. Whilst there's some conjecture about where exactly in the Basilica Gabrieli stationed his performers, there can be no doubt that the structurally distinct elements of his music can be realized with eloquence in a space such as this, with the circular floor plan inviting a spread of performers around the space, and the use of these clearly articulated bays or segments of the rotunda. These arrangements will be heard to best effect in the spectacular 33-part Magnificat, which concludes the final concert of the series. 7 choirs of instruments and singers will be spread right around the space, the audience in the middle thus having a surround sound experience that the most modern and sophisticated hi-fi system couldn't possibly hope to emulate. Please do look at our website, resurgam.ie, for further details of Sacred Symphonies, Resurgam's February celebration of Giovanni Gabrieli. I look forward to seeing you here then in City Hall for what promises to be a 16th century sonic thrill.